Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Corey Rennie, the unemployable counselor, and I'm here tonight because I was thinking about some stuff that's been going on. I've been doing a lot of election stuff, a lot of interviews, which I actually quite enjoy. But the reason why I started all this was to focus more on some issues that I find very interesting, and one of that is corruption in organizations, misappropriation. Um, and the lengths people will go to not only protect themselves, but more importantly, protect any wrongdoing that may have happened. And I find, for me, it goes back to a couple different things. One of the first videos I did, I talked about the red flags in a workplace, right? And that's cool. So, like some of the big ones kind of tie into this theme that I'm going with right now about misappropriation, corruption, when or agencies break bad, I think is how I put it. There's things like if you don't get paid, if you're asking questions, no one will answer. I don't mean like they just say, I don't know. I mean like dead air. Emails don't get responded to. Questions don't get responded to. When you do logic and plate and say, look, what can we do to fix this? It's just met with anger and silence. And you get things like, why are you wrecking this? Or why are you trying to change this? And it's like, well, it might work on that side of the coin, but if you're getting something out of it, of course you're not going to want it to change. But if you're on this side of it and you have people or yourself and you don't get paid, you don't get the money that's owed on time, there's continual mistakes or just lack of communication, right? If you have an organization that's set up where you have your own payroll department, that's a little bit easier because you can say, hey, what's going on? But if it's set up where, in theory, you oversee things but don't, and again, if this goes into the second point about getting paid, the hierarchy. If no one will explain to you when you ask what the reporting structure is, you have to ask yourself why. Why are we working in that vagueness? Why are we working in that darkness? Why is everything cloaked in secrecy when we're all supposed to be working towards the same goal? If you're responsible for a pot of money, but a service outside of it, pays your people and does all that stuff, but if you're unaware of where any of that stuff goes, then when shit gets real and everyone's burying their heads in the sand, unfortunately, you're going to be up there taking the firing squad line. Because why would people intentionally not tell you those things? Right? Now look, these are all hypotheticals, but from my experiences of 30 years of working and from what I've heard from other people, things like not getting paid on time or regularly or constant mistakes and no one's willing to either fix them or acknowledge them. They might fix the mistake when it's done because legally they have to pay you your money. If you're lucky enough to have a union, they'll fight on your behalf. But if not, then it turns into just this endless cycle. And even if there is a union, depending on how things are set up and how strong your previous team was, because let's face facts, if things are going like that, you're going to have new management all the time. Or if you have one there for a long term, it's either because they learned how to play that game. And if you're playing that game, then you're no better than that because you're compliant to the corruption, if there is any. I know this makes Mando cry because at the end of the day, you only have so many things that you can do. And if you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, it's never going to be finished. Now, what gets me is when people will have access to money, not use it appropriately. And by that, I mean float balances every month. Why don't just pay everything off, right? Things like that. Not paying their people on time, right? If you have questions about deductions, not being able to answer them, okay? Either there's a level of incompetence there, or there's a level of I don't know, or it's really I don't care, right? What else could it be? There's a fourth option. Could be that it's being diverted somewhere else, and maybe they're paying something and putting it back. Maybe it's like, house. The house keeps a cut. I don't know, but I find with business, finances have to be crystal clear, like crystal clear. You need to know where every cent goes. You should be able to pull one thread and follow it back to where that pot is and know where that money is. If it takes a year or two to get things like your finances in order, and no one can answer why, or they just refuse to answer why, right? Like, how do you balance that out in your mind? How do you figure that piece out? Because if you can't get answers for any of that stuff and you're responsible for running an organization, let's say, or a restaurant or a car wash, whatever it is, if you get audited, you're going to be fucked. Okay? Sorry about my language, but that's really what it is here. I'm going to get into this in more detail tonight, or later on. But tonight I just wanted to bring this up because we're going to delve deep into this. And it upsets Mando because Mando doesn't like the idea of people being taken advantage of, especially if they're hardworking people putting their hours in and they keep getting screwed over or they don't get what they're supposed to get. And when you take the proper channels and report that stuff and it just gets squashed and fingers get pointed and not at the right people, that just shows that there's a systematic issue in that place. Mando, hold on. In that place, and if you don't get that fixed up, then it's going to be done and it's dead and it's over, and then your organization is garbage, and then that reputation is garbage, and everyone's pointing their fingers blaming everyone else. Usually it's the people on the way out that kind of get the blame, but things have a way of coming out and things have a way of working out. Now, I mean, hypothetically, if you're involved in an organization like that, maybe you should look at going somewhere else, because eventually some pin is going to pop that balloon and all the air is going to come out and someone's going to be left. Just make sure it's not you. We're going to delve into this more. This is just a little brief conversation with me and my sad dog, because he doesn't like to hear about corruption or misappropriation, hypothetically or not. And I'm the unemployable counselor. So you guys take care of yourselves. Have a good night. And we'll catch you on the flip side.